Hello and welcome to NCAA Week 13. This week we're joined by Bobby Hamlett and Josh Hunt, and I'm John. And we're excited. We're going to talk to you guys about, we're just going to look at the different conferences and how they're doing right now. And we're going to start off by having Bobby talk to us a little bit about the American Athletic Conference.
Well, the AAC conference, not to be confused with the
As
ACC.
a UCF alum here.
As a UCF alumni, you know that UCF's on top of the standings right now, but Louisville's right there, and if UCF slips up at all, Louisville will be there to catch them. But Louisville still has to play a very tough Cincinnati team at 8-2 who just smoked Rutgers, and UCF still has SMU, still has Rutgers to play, so they're not out of the water either.
Especially after struggling against Temple this week.
Yeah, that was rather surprising.
Yeah.
That was hopefully their hiccup game that they got over and survived. But
I don't see UCF losing to any of the rest of their opponents. I see them winning the AAC.
You know, Blake Bortles is 7th in QB efficiency right now, ahead of names like Aaron Murray, AJ McCarron,
who play in tougher
Tosh
competition
Boyd.
with real defenses. But anyways,
Either way, it's still not interceptions, it's still touchdowns.
Yeah,
So.
no, we'll give it to UCF. They're doing good this season. How about let's jump into the Mountain West Conference. Let's see, we got two teams that look like they're pretty much in control of the two separate conferences there, or two different separate sides of that conference. We got undefeated Fresno, and we got Boise. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Recently I've been reading a couple stuff that's saying Boise is finally going to be able to make it and beat Fresno State, winning the Mountain West. I hope they can.
Who's writing these things?
Boise State alumni, I know. So it looks like Fresno State's going to have a pretty easy challenge winning the rest of their games. Boise State still has to face a decent San Diego State before they can really move on and look towards.
Now, what about BYU? Because last time I checked, they splattered Boise State. Are they in the Mountain West Conference?
They are not yet in the Mountain West Conference.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a good point, Bobby. Okay, now as far as the Mid-American, we're not going to talk a lot about that. Northern Illinois, they're still in control of that one. They're undefeated, and they should be undefeated by the time they're done with that one. But they did struggle with Ball State this last week.
I don't think
you
you could say they struggled. They handled it. They were ahead almost the whole game.
Well, yes, but it got down to the very end, and then
it was closer than the score indicated.
That's exactly right. Okay, let's jump to the Big Ten though. Big Ten, Ohio State, they just want to talk and say, hey, they're worthy of, why are they dropped down to number 4 and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think Michigan State's going to show them why eventually, but
is Ohio State number 3?
They might be number 3,
number 3 right now. Yeah.
Michigan State has 2 games left. They're on the other side of the conference, and they are going to play Northwestern and Minnesota. Both of these are decent opponents. No, you can never count Northwestern out of a game.
Sure.
No, they trip people up.
I'm still kind of, Ohio State's putting up a lot of points. Their fans are crying, why are we not right there with FSU or, even higher? They've got to prove a little bit more for me. I think I got to see them, if they can get through Michigan State, not just get through them, but really take it to Michigan State, I'll give them a a little more credit.
Well, and they've got Michigan at the end of the season, but Michigan struggled this year.
Oh, they've really struggled.
But, they're going to fight Ohio State.
Yes, that's true.
So we'll see what's going to happen with that one. Okay, now let's jump to Bobby's favorite conference, the ACC.
The almost competitive conference.
And let's talk about, FSU would have something to say about that one.
That's true. That's true. You've got, obviously, the flag waver of the conference this year is Florida State. And they are legit. Their defense is number 3 in the country. Their offense is right up there with Baylor. So you've got a very balanced team. They're playing great ball. You look next in line, you got Clemson there. It's just a tough year to be in the Atlantic side of the ACC because Clemson doesn't have a shot at the ACC title. Florida State's already beat them. The other side's a mess. You got Duke. They're leading the way. You would have thought this was a basketball game, basketball conference. It is, but you've got a scenario here.
Especially after Duke beat Miami, though.
That's true.
Surprised everybody, but
and people don't realize their defense is solid. So the thing that I think you have to watch in the Coastal Division, there could be a 4-way tie for the lead.
Yes.
If Duke wins this week against Wake Forest and loses to UNC next week, and Virginia Tech wins against UVA,
it's not over.
It's not over.
It's not over.
Although
on the Coastal,
Virginia Tech fans are feeling like this right now. I think they're just wanting to cover their heads, knowing that they choked away a chance for a smooth ride at the Coastal Division.
I don't see Virginia Tech making it. Duke, I don't see them losing to Wake Forest or UNC, and even if they do, Florida State will smoke them anyways. So
that's right.
I don't see that even.
So Lee Corso, was that your the mascot uniform over there? Okay, let's jump to the Big 12. Josh, you want to talk to us a little bit about the Big 12? You got Baylor, number 4.
Yeah, Baylor, man, they are looking good. They apparently have more than 700 yards a game. And that's a lot of offense.
That's a lot.
I don't know how you divide that between passing and rushing, but either way, there's going to be a lot on both sides.
Hey, but this is the big week.
This is.
It is.
This is a huge one.
This could impact the national title.
It
Who wins
could.
this game? I mean,
What?
Baylor
Yes.
could make a case.
Oklahoma State, number 10, and going in there against Baylor, it's a huge game.
Baylor's
Who are you guys taking?
I'm taking Baylor. They look good all year long. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Baylor.
Admittedly, Oklahoma State, they lost to West Virginia earlier this year. But to me, ever since they lost that game, they have looked really powerful.
Who needs RG3?
Yeah, I say Baylor, Baylor, Baylor. That's not even a song. I don't know.
Okay,
Baylor
we'll
Bears.
see. We'll see about. Hey, I like the Baylor Bears, but we'll see what's going to happen. This is a huge game. Okay, Pac-12.
Pac-12. Man, it's
Well,
kind of a messed up conference this year.
It's a mess up.
It is.
They've had a
Yeah.
lot of issues.
They don't have a single
Or
undefeated team.
No, and they looked so strong early on.
They
And
did.
so everyone said, obviously, Oregon was the front runner, and then Stanford, and then it kind of surprised me. Stanford got so much love after losing to Utah, who was like 4-5 or 5-4.
They were still
Yeah.
ranked in the top 10 after losing to Utah.
So it doesn't.
That was.
I don't know. Some people say that Utah just had a really tough schedule. I don't know. So I'm kind of mixed. I think that Oregon still is the flagship school of that conference, and we'll
I
win it.
don't think
They are.
Oregon.
They are. But
I guess they'll make it to
UCLA,
this year's
UCLA is,
That's
you know, they're trying to say they're in there
And
as
speaking
well.
of UCLA, UCLA is going to be going against Arizona State. That'll be a big game. They're both ranked only 2 losses apiece.
That's right.
Depending on who wins that could be that side of the conference. Yeah. Gotta look at that.
Now let's go and talk about the SEC. You got number 1 ranked Alabama, and they're going to be playing Chattanooga this week, a 2A team that's done well in their division, but you know they're going to be playing Alabama. And then you know this is in preparation. Auburn's got a week off, and then Iron Bowl.
They got a bye week.
This is the most exciting Iron Bowl in a long time.
Yeah,
I think.
Without a
You have
doubt.
to
Without a doubt. Since Cam Newton played,
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
game with Cam Newton was a big
That was a
game.
huge one, but yes.
I'm going to go ahead and say the schedule Alabama did with the 2A teams kind of frustrated a lot of people. But still, wish in the SEC, I'm not biased, I don't really like SEC, but when you have an SEC schedule, you can put in teams that aren't that great, and it's still okay. You still have a tough schedule. I think that Alabama's going to crush Chattanooga, obviously. It's not even going to be close.
Okay.
But
I don't
besides
think that's the
No
question.
watching out for those Chattanooga.
I think the real
Mocs.
question is, you know, after Auburn and Georgia played this past week, which was the game of the week in my
yes.
mind. I mean, just
Sure.
unbelievable game. And the miracle catch
Yep.
at the end of the game, that was pretty awesome. But, you know, hey, it took a miracle catch
It did.
to win that game.
But Georgia, this was a healthy Georgia. They had most of their team back. And Georgia, they're a good team. I'm just saying. They're always.
Murray did an awesome job there in the fourth quarter.
I want to look ahead. What is Texas A&M going to do against LSU? Because you've got kind of LSU's known for their defense. Obviously, Texas A&M has none. They're known for their offense. So we're going to see a clash here of dynamics in offense versus defense. So
I think that's a
it'd
really
be an interesting matchup.
Very interesting matchup.
I haven't
agree.
heard a lot about Johnny Manziel and Heisman so far this year.
It's been
so
pretty quiet.
far the Heisman in general has been pretty quiet. Kind of a lot of different quarterbacks are doing good, but
Jameis, I think isn't he on top?
He
I think he's
probably
the
is.
forerunner right now with
I
that one.
still like Johnny
Front
football's
runner.
skill.
Sure.
I still think he can beat LSU, even if they are a good defense. He showed against Alabama, he can go up against a good defense.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
without
Still
doubt.
put up
No,
crazy
the kid's,
yardage.
The kid's good. Of course, Evans, in
Yeah.
my opinion, is even better as a receiver.
He's a stud.
He's a stud. Okay, then and finally we got Missouri,
Yes.
and they're going to be facing Texas A&M this week.
Facing Sunshine and
Ole Miss,
Ole Miss.
and then Texas A&M.
Sure.
yeah,
Yes.
Ole Miss, and they're
Face Sunshine. That's
probably
right.
one of the best seasons they've had in a while. You could
Oh,
say.
absolutely.
I haven't seen them ranked
Absolutely.
in the
Yes.
You're talking about Missouri?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Missouri.
I think Missouri. I think they should be able to take care of Ole Miss. Missouri does have a solid defense.
Yeah.
Their offense, you know, I watched them against Florida. I really didn't think they'd win that game, and then they proved a lot to me that week. I think Missouri's got what it takes to represent the East. But we'll see. You know, it's kind of wide open.
Yeah.
I'm just going
It
to
is
say
wide
one
open.
more thing before we finish. Speaking of Florida, I forgot to say this. Florida State is going to have trouble against that defense. They might have the worst offense ever, but that is a solid defense.
Florida's
and I want to
defense?
see how
Yeah,
Florida State plays against that defense.
Because it looks like now that Duke
Good
will
question.
represent the ACC Coastal instead of Virginia Tech, I was looking forward to seeing how Jameis Winston would play against the Virginia Tech defense, it looks like Florida's going to be the only defense he really gets to play before potentially the national title game. So it should be interesting.
It should be interesting. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.